Most definitely.
all things work together for good, if you want to spiritualize it. So you shifted your focus to something that had been kind of inside you all along, organically. And so, but what happened in the local environment to get you to pull back on that? Did someone come to you and say, listen, are you interested in providing support to seniors? What was the practical plan, or the sequence of events? Yeah, can you
Sure.
lay out the sequence of events? And yeah,
Sure. Um, there's a gentleman that his job is to find partners for franchises.
okay. So
I met him on
Care Builders is a national or a regional franchise,
national, very
okay.
much national.
And they
And
use an approach kind of like McDonald's, where you find regional people who own regional franchises. So as long as you maintain and protect the brand,
exactly.
okay.
And their brand is very protected. And it's one of the appealing things about the brand is, for instance, they perform all of my back of house. So I don't have to worry about the billing aspect. I don't have to worry about collecting up to a certain point. I don't, I don't have to worry about payroll for my caregivers. As we sign up the clients, the franchise itself, the franchisor themselves, the corporate office then integrates with me to take the back of house portion away from me. Accounts receivable, payable comes to them. They pay all the bills, they pay the payroll, except for the nurse and except for the office manager. And then they send me the residuals on a quarterly, or I'm sorry, on a monthly basis. So that's really good. That also helps them as far as the website. I didn't have to find anyone to build the website. That's all done through the corporate office. So that makes it real appealing to me because that's basically the same format that we had at the airport, where we didn't have to do the back of house. And so it was a business model that I'm very familiar with. And that was another reason, because I don't think there's any other franchises anywhere in the home healthcare business that have a business model like this. And it's growing. Since I signed up in October, last I heard 2 weeks ago, there's been 14 more franchisees that they've signed up in the last year and a month or two. For those that don't know, the home healthcare business is really growing right now. And one of the catalysts for that growth spurt was COVID. I believe the first nursing home that had a significant amount of casualties was actually in Bellevue, if I remember correctly.
Everett.
And
It was up in Everett.
in Everett, okay. And a lot of people since then no longer want to put their loved ones, their seniors, into nursing facilities anymore. They want them to be able to gracefully and comfortably age at home. And that's difficult sometimes if you still have to go to work and you have youngins that are too small to actually help take care of the parents or the grandparents. And so that's where we come in. We come in, we'll do light housekeeping, we'll do transportation, we'll run errands, we'll food prep, we'll cook, we'll help with baths, we'll actually even perform just companionship, play games, do whatever they need to do. And this extends to our seniors that are experiencing Alzheimer's or dementia, or even hospice patients. We come in and we take a big load off of the family. Um, and so, and by the way, this actually hit me personally with a loved one that is now under home health care. Um, and they're locally, and we have a Care Builders franchise, not mine, it's a different gentleman. Um, but there's one Care Builder franchise that services the Bellevue area. Um, and if anybody's interested, they're also looking to expand into other parts of Washington.
So the Care Builders mission, if you may, is fill that in.
Oh, the Care Builders mission is to, let's see, help our seniors age at home gracefully and with dignity.
Okay.
That's our mission.
To-
And if you're in an independent care, assisted care, memory loss care, and you want special attention, we also are licensed to go into those facilities also. So even if you're not at home, but you still want to make sure that just you have special individualized care, we can still perform that too. Dignity and with grace um, are the key elements to what we do and why we do it.
Now, nothing's free. So how
No,
is all
sir.
this paid for? Oftentimes, we know how the Medicare Medicaid system works, where oftentimes people, the sale of their home when they come out of their homes, they can't manage it anymore. Is those assets are liquidated, and that helps to take care of mom and dad when they reach the point where they need to be, they need extra care, they need to be in a facility, and so forth. So, and personal assets have to be liquidated before Medicare kicks in, and all of that. So how does this work? Does it run along those same lines, or what if people are staying in their home so that asset, the sale of those assets, are not brought into play? How is all this paid for? Is this, if you're on Medicare, is it one of the Medicare packages or so forth?
Great question. Um, right now, we're doing three forms of payment. Um, of course, it's private pay. You can pay for it yourself. The cost is determined. We have to go in and do an assessment. The registered nurse goes in, she does an assessment, determines what your needs are, and then we go from there to determine what categories you fall under. And you can fall under, and then after that's determined and you're given the rate, you can pay for it by private pay. We also are VA certified to receive payments from the VA. We also accept almost all. I haven't really heard of any long-term care insurance that we do not accept. And the beauty behind that is if anyone's familiar with long-term care, the process for that is that you pay and then you're reimbursed by the insurance company. Well, our corporate office will work with you and with the long-term insurance provider to make sure that you get reimbursed. Not only that, you do pay us initially, but we'll do all the submitting of your paperwork to your long-term care provider, and then get that check to you as soon as possible to replace the money that you've put out. And now, Medicare, Medicaid. We have nothing to do with Medicare. That's the federal aspect. But Medicaid is controlled by each state, however they decide to do their Medicaid. The Medicaid here, we have not gotten on board with that yet. We're looking at that. We're trying to get on board. It's kind of complicated, quite frankly, for our services and for the level that we provide. It will take Medicaid and a supplement. That supplement can be the VA. That supplement can be your long-term care. So that those are the four ways that you can pay for our service: private pay, VA, long-term care, and we're working on the Medicaid aspect.
Okay. Well, with people like Robert Kennedy coming into office, I'm sure all that will sort itself out real fine. What do you think?
Hey, I tell you, in the year I've been here, I have heard three different things that are going to happen between Medicaid and Medicare. Um, None of them really good for me. But like I said, one thing I've learned in this last year, especially these last 2 months, don't worry about it, Tony, because it's not your business. You are the caretaker. You are the shepherd of this business. You are the intermediary that God is using to provide this. So just sit back and watch him work. I mean, do what you're supposed to do,
Yeah.
but don't get scared. Don't worry about it. It is gonna work out.
So, as the franchise owner, how many employees do you have? How many clients do you have uh, currently? And what is your near term to midterm to long term projections of how you plan to scale up?
Great question.
I try to
Um,
ask only good questions, but I'm good for
I'm
about three.
learning that.
I'm
I'm
good for
learning
about
that.
3 a year, so I done got 2 to 3 in. I got one more to go.
So our grand opening was on the 22nd of November.
Uh huh.
Before that, I call it on the streets, going to different facilities, going to different groups for about a week. We got our first client the day before our grand opening. And tomorrow morning, if everything goes the way it's lined up to go, we should have our second client. Um, we're looking at roughly a projection of hopefully we're looking at 275,000 for the year of next year of 25. And we're planning to be $1 million company within 4 years.
Okay.
Let's see, we have 10 employees right now. We're looking to scale up at least 2 employees a week as we're getting more clients. We have 1, 2, 3 facilities who have said that they will start sending clients our way as they come available. It takes a while, man. When you go and visit a potential client in this industry, you're looking at probably 7 to 8 touches before they'll even speak to you.
I believe it.
Yeah, you have to get past that gatekeeper, and that gatekeeper's job is to make sure you don't get past the gatekeeper. So, we're spending a lot of promotional money. We're doing a lot of, we're spending money with sponsorships for our website, so that when people get on Google and they say something like home health care assistance in Gwinnett County, we're paying for sponsorship to be at the top of their Google searches. We're sponsoring things like we'll be sponsoring. There's a hospital that has an awards program in January, and much like what we do with Songs of Black Folk, we're sponsoring that so we can, get our name out. Because even though we're a national brand, we're new to Georgia, and it's surprising how many people haven't heard of us, and it's also just as surprising how many people have. Um, but my responsibility right now is to make us become a household name. Um, there's a few business owners in Seattle that I consider my mentors, and one of them owns a chicken franchise. And every time you see him, he'll have his shirt on with the name of
You
his
must be
franchise.
talking about Lewis. Lewis Rudd.
And God put Lewis in my life for a reason, because now I see how important it is. When I go grocery shopping, I'm Care Builders Tony. When I when I go to the gym, I'm Care Builders Tony. Everywhere I go, I have on a Care Builders shirt and a Care Builders hat.
In 1984, I was privileged to be a part of a team of theologians and scholars, the only student in the group with the Black Theology Project. We went to Cuba and we actually met Fidel Castro, and
Wow.
he was a menacing figure when he came into a room with his long beard, being just august in his physical presentation, about 6'4" and huge. He
Wow.
always wore his battle fatigues. He always wore
Yes.
his uniform because he said he represented, he was the personification of a revolution. He was never out of character. He was never not in battle mode. So he didn't dress down. He didn't carry the occasion. He's almost like Zelensky of Ukraine. He has that same look because he understands his symbolic presence. Yes,
Yes.
you have to incarnate. The word has to become flesh. So they say when you start a business, you got to be willing to lose money for a while so you can make monies. And they say that the main reason why African American businesses and Hispanic businesses alike fail is not because they don't have the competence to provide the skill or the service or the product that the business is in existence for, but they oftentimes are not sufficiently capitalized when they start. And so they don't have the space and the time to establish themselves while they're getting past all those gatekeepers and building up clientele and getting that residual
Exactly.
business, because everybody knows that the strength of any business is return business, that residual business, and that comes from having a good record of works and so forth. So there's a ramp up time. So were you successful in getting the type of financing, so that you have the time to work your way into the soil of the business and buy a couple of loaves of bread and a couple of change of socks for yourself in the process?
Well, I haven't bought any socks or um, I had to quit eating bread. Um, I haven't received a paycheck in over a year, man, for services rendered. But praise God, I had a little savings account. Um, we already had some things in place to do the restaurant, um, and I'm blessed with a wonderful support system between um, my family and a wonderful wife who I think she invented Costco. she, she's been there for 40 years. Costco ain't but 42 years old. So, and Costco is an amazing, amazing, amazing company. And God has touched her heart too, that I still take care of my share of the bills.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I still take care of my share, but God has
You ain't
worked
no
it out.
bum. You ain't no bum.
I ain't no bum.
You
I'm
ain't no
not living
scrub
off
sitting
of
on the
everybody.
passenger side of your best friend's ride. I get it, man. I get it. But
But
it is important to have a spouse with you, male or female, that's in it to win it. Because when we started this church, say what you want to, it's a business. It's in the business of saving souls and making disciples. But it is a business with a financial aspect of it. So we went over a year without salary, but that's because we were in a position to, in part because we had been taught to have at least 6 months, if not a full year, worth of full salary in the bank. My grandfather used to say, you always want to be in a position to fire your job if you need to for your sanity and not worry about if your family gonna eat the next day.
you
So by
heard?
having some money in the bank and then a wife that knows how to tighten the belt and be Costco queen if she got to be, all that helps.
It does.
And when you know how to rein in your appetites, when you don't have to drive the fanciest car in the world, and you're willing to stay the same weight so you can keep wearing them clothes, as God showed that the Israelites says their clothes didn't wear out for 40 years in the wilderness. Sometimes we need that make do grace to survive
Make
the
do grace.
wildernesses that we go through.
And the other thing I want to say is, um, it's never too early to make sure you're financeable. Pay your bills. Have your credit score as high as possible.
That part.
Um, you got, to be financeable, to the level that this type of financing requires, you need to be up there 790, 800. Now, that's not for everything, but you got to have a credit score and a credit history
Yes.
that shows that somebody might want to take a chance and give you some money. And if they give you some money, they're going to get their money back plus interest. And you can't wait till you open a business or think you want to open a business and decide, oh, I need to get my credit straight. There are a lot of people in this business that don't even last the year that I've already lasted.
Yeah.
And I didn't even get my first client till a year and a month. Okay. But you have people who, say for instance, might work for me as a caregiver, find out what I'm paying them and find out what the client is paying me, and they'll be mad and they'll be like, oh no, I want that money. So then they'll decide they're going to open up a home healthcare business, but they don't have the financing and they're
Mm-hmm.
not financeable. So they're closing down in 4, 5, 6 months.
One
You
of the
got
things
to make sure that you're financeable, um,
Well,
on a scale.
one of the things I love about Black people is we continue to expand the English language and make up new words. You just made one up today,
Yes,
financeable. Amen.
you heard.
That's right. Beside funeralize in the Black lexicon, words
But
ain't in the
wait,
dictionary nowhere. But everybody know what you're saying. It's good, clear communication.
that's the
I'm
key.
gonna preach that in a stewardship service. Make sure you are financeable so that we don't have to funeralize you and you can't get yourself in the ground.
You heard. You heard. The key
Well,
to making up words is to
that's what we're supposed to do.
is to
That's how
make
you
up a
expand
word
the
where
language.
at least for 5 seconds somebody has to say, "Is that really a word?"
Once you repeat it, it is. So you just got to make sure you use it a second time real quick because then it's official word. Man, I'm so excited for you and Tracy in this new journey. Um, you know, it's the unexpected twists and turns in life that really are the porthole to our new adventures. Most of the great things done in history were the fruit of necessity. Necessity is the mother of invention. When we
Yes.
had to do something different, and out of that, it's like squeeze the toothpaste out the tube. And so I congratulate you guys on your resourcefulness. I congratulate you on your creativity, your grit, but I also congratulate you on responding to a growing need in post-pandemic American life. We are all still dealing with. I'm dealing with it in terms of reinventing ministry. We're still dealing with the realities of post-pandemic America, post-pandemic consumer habits, post-pandemic membership habits, post-pandemic family habits in terms of taking care of seniors, taking care of children. The world has changed. We don't have the world we have. We have the world we don't have the world we had. We have the world we have. And how do we serve it? How do we care for our young and our old? So I'm excited about you guys being a part of that. How's Tracy doing? And any last comments before we wind this up?
Tracy's doing amazing. I had to take a nap before this show because you got me on after my bedtime, man. I remember we used to just now be getting dressed to go out.
I know,
But
man. You got to
but
represent,
nowadays, and being on the East Coast, all the doggone games start at 8 and 9 o'clock at night. So I have to get up, 6 in the morning, 5 in the morning, 5 in the morning, 5:30 in the morning. We do our Bible study, and then Trey goes to work, and then I watch the highlights of the game I missed from the night before. So Trey knocks out really early, man. So she's sleeping right now, but she's doing wonderful. Yeah, we're enjoying each other. We had one of the greatest Thanksgivings ever this year. It was just her and me. Yeah, we didn't have to clean up after anybody else. We made the hardest part is making Thanksgiving dinner for only 2 people. But we
Yeah.
took that hit, all the leftover stuff that couldn't be frozen. We just did what we had to do, and then we went to go watch your show, Gladiator 2. And congratulations to you, gladiator of the Christmas lights.
Yeah, I accept it. I receive it.
We're coming home for Christmas, man. We'll be there for Christmas. We're landing Christmas Eve, and we'll be there through the weekend. We leave Sunday, but I think Trey said our flight is late enough that we should be able to attend service before we go get on the plane. But I'm gonna fill up the car with some Warren folks and drive by your house one night. I'll let you know. I'll let you know when we're on the way in case we need to use the bathroom.
Well, I had one of my neighbors just yesterday. He saw me coming out of the house. He said, "Hey, man, your lights look great again this year." He said, "But I got to tell you, man," he says, "you're putting pressure on me because my wife keeps comparing what I do to what you do." And I said, "Baby, that's just not my thing." She says, "Yeah, but our house is looking pathetic compared to Mr. Braxton's house." He says, "So, man, you're putting pressure on me." I told him, I said, "Man, handle it. So yes, I am the gladiator of Christmas.
Did you say you think the price of eggs is high? Wait till you see that light bill.
Man, we don't want to talk about that conversation that Sheila and I have every January. Oh, folks, I want to thank my lifelong friend Tony Warren and his wife Tracy, who is she's taking a nap now while he's awake. To come and tell us a little bit about his new ventures. They've shifted into home health care for seniors through the team building franchise as their new franchise owners in the greater Atlanta metropolitan area. And so we're excited for them in their successful transition down in the state of Georgia. And say hi to all the folks in New Beginning South that are down there in the greater Atlanta metropolitan area, including my sister, my son, my grandson, and my nieces, and my sister, and all of them.
There's a lot of us here. Folks,
next week my guest is going to be Ms. Tara Davis, rescheduled from previous weeks, who is a member of the board of the WIAA, the Washington Interscholastic Athletic Association, and her historic appointment there. She's going to become talking about those duties and those responsibilities and what changes are coming in terms of high school athletics and how it affects your children. And then the following week, we're going to have Pastor Dana McClendon, who just retired from his post as the pastor of the Greater New Bethel Baptist Church after several decades. Not quite sure exactly how many years, but it's been over 20, 25 years, I believe. He was the pastor of that church and a good friend of mine. And so he's going to be talking about what's next in his pastoral journey as he continues to serve Christ, but in a non-pastoral capacity. And that's going to wrap up our holiday shows, carrying us through the 18th, because then we're going to take a break, because the following Wednesday will be Christmas Day, and we'll break till the new year. So next week, Tara Davis. The following week after that, Reverend Dana McClendon. We thank God for all of you. And I want to say to all of you, this is, the light of Jesus shines in the darkness, and the darkness cannot consume it. There's a tenacity, a resilience to the Christ who is the light, and we who are children of the light. And the darker it gets, the more brilliant light shines. And we are the people. If you want to wonder how anyone else is going to make it in the dark, the children of the light should always be okay, because we were made for the dark. We're not made to be dark, but we were made for the dark. And so this is our time. We shine brightest when our backs are against the wall. And so during this time, our message of hope and love and joy and peace and goodness should shine and should thrive. And so one of the things I think that is key is to find your joy. Find the things that you do to experience the joy of the Lord, and happiness and peace in life despite. Because I've never believed that joy and peace is a reflection of how well things are going on around you, because then that means that the joy you have, the world gave it to you, and the world can take it away. But since I was a little boy, they've been singing, this joy I have, the world didn't give it, and the world can't take it away. This is the time when we need to be thinking about, what is that joy, those sources of joy the world did not give to us and cannot now take away from it. And those things we survive on and we thrive on. So if you don't have joy this Christmas and in the year to come, it won't be the government's fault. It'll be your own, because you made your joy dependent upon things that you had no control over in the first place. So I want to say to you this Christmas, celebrate the reason for the season, and that is Jesus Christ. Love on your loved ones. That's always there for you. And let the little child in you have a little room and air to breathe, because this time of year, the little boy in every man, the little girl in every woman ought to be dancing for joy in this time of year that brings out the little kid in all of us. For me, it's stringing Christmas lights. For you, I don't know what it is, but it ought to be something. So until I see you next week, take care of your health, take care of your loved ones, and always hear and heed the words of the R&B prophet at the end of the Bible in the Apocrypha, the R&B section, Don Cornelius, who says, peace and love. See you next week.
Thank you for joining Conversations with the Pastor here every Wednesday at 6 p.m. You can also join us for worship service on Sundays at 9:30 a.m. See you next week.